Well, hello and good evening. Welcome to Positively Positive, and I am your host, Susan Mintz. We have an exceptional show tonight. Not a surprise guest, but a very, very, very important guest. Let me tell you first, though, about what Positively Positive is. This is the only show like it in the country or perhaps the world that's exclusively designated for HIV and AIDS, which means everybody who's come on and will come on, any organization, any company, any provider, anybody involved with HIV or AIDS, long-term survivors, caregivers, we've had them from all over the country. As long as there's a component, and I say that very purposefully, as long as there is a component that has HIV or AIDS in there, you can be on the show, because that's what makes this show unique, groundbreaking, and one of a kind, is because we are taking a subject that other than the drug companies, people aren't talking about. The media doesn't talk about it. Most of the groups, it's just not being talked about. And this happened with this very special person, and that's why this show is working, is because we're the only ones doing it, and we will stay doing it. We will keep it current. We will try to have people know that, yes, there are people talking about HIV openly, streaming. This show should be national. It should be sponsored by a very big drug company or some other doctor or lawyer or group that sponsors uniqueness, that sponsors diversity, that's looking for that edge, that wants something new that's relevant to today. HIV is still 40 years later relevant, even though the medications can help, testing, all that's wonderful, but it's still here. But it's not relevant in the mainstream. So I'm just saying that Positively Positive is geared specifically for stories pertaining to HIV and AIDS. That's this show. My story is that I love the man, and I still do 30 years later, Dr. Jeffrey A. Mintz. You can read my story in my book, Committed to Love, my memoir, or also my other book, And I Held Their Hands with a Hospice Heart. But my story, Committed to Love, is about how I met a young man when I was 11 years old. He was not the one I thought I would end up marrying, because I didn't plan on getting married, but he was my best friend. I got pregnant. We had a miscarriage. We stayed married, and he told me a few months after we were married that he thought he was bisexual. Well, you can say that the marriage was, needless to say, very rocky at times, a roller coaster. It was curved and detoured and took all sorts of places to go. But as my book documents, his illness and my life with him, I will tell you that it was a roller coaster ride I never wanted to get off. To this day, I would go back in a heartbeat and have that life. It was my life, nobody else's. I lived committed to love. God gave me a gift to write, and I wrote it out years later into the book. But that is a gift. God gave me this gift of a great man. I didn't ask for the gift to have HIV and AIDS become the third person in my life, but I loved him, and I loved the Lord, and my marriage meant a lot to me. And he would never have left me, and I wouldn't have divorced him. So if you want Committed to Love and my other book, And I Held Their Hands with a Hospice Heart, or you also want to see the shows that have been previously aired, you can go to Susan Mintz, SusanMintz.com. You can check out the Positively Positive page. You can go on the books page, and you can read about my books. They're on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. And they're $22.95 each, which is a bargain, because most of the issues that I address, at some point you will have to address them, but differently than HIV. But long-term care, short-term shock, fear, telling people, any issue you've had to deal with, I promise you I've dealt with them. And that's why I'm so okay with where I am, is because I know this show and my story are helping people all over the country, and one day perhaps the world. So, you know about Positively Positive. Let my little glasses straighten out. You know about Positively Positive, and you know about Susan Mintz. Now, my very, very special guest tonight, who I will introduce as soon as I take the glasses off. No makeup tonight because we have a little infection with the eye. So we're going to put on the other ones. There we go. Now, when I will tell you that the guest tonight is none other than Ricardo Jackson. And I'm going to say, Ricardo Jackson, come on into the studio. But you're already in the studio. Hello, my producer, director, sponsor, CEO, president.
Hi, Suzanne. How
There
are you?
is that smile.
How are you
Hi,
doing?
Ricardo, my special guest. He's
Hi.
the reason that this program exists. Oh, remember, I didn't take the fan out tonight, so we're going to have to pause in between. Should I get the fan? I don't think so. I'll wave my sunglasses. Anyway, it's springtime. It's springtime. We have to look very festive. But this
Yeah.
is the reason Ricardo and Campbell Health is the reason why this show is existing. Because I was on his podcast over the summer, more toward fall, and I mentioned that there should be a show that is exclusively a talk show where we interview people specifically about HIV and AIDS. And without hesitation, he said, let's do it. He's in West Palm Beach. I'm in Boca, and our guests have been everywhere all over the country. But when you have a void, you fill it. When you have a need, you take care of it. There was a need for this, and this man came along who saw it. So thank you for giving Positively Positive a face. Maybe a strange face, but it's a face.
No, well, thank you. Thank you. You're doing a really great and awesome job at, talking with your guest. And, the I don't know if you've not seen any of the stuff from before, go back and check out some of the ones that are already done. And the information is right here on the screen. You can watch us live on Campbell Health Solutions social media pages on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. They're all on there. You can go as far back as possible. I think all the way up until November of last year. And you'll see every episode that was created and all the folks that were interviewed. And it's just been an amazing time doing the interviews. And I get to finally be behind the scenes. So it's a really kind of like fun experience. I feel like Oprah now.
You are to me, Oprah, that's for sure. You're Tyler Perry and Oprah combined.
Well, yeah,
And
and I'm really excited about being on the show. So yes, thanks for having me on tonight. Appreciate it.
I don't think I had a choice. This is like having your husband. This is the same thing. We're remote, but we're tied to the same thing. It's so funny. You're saying thank you. I'm saying thank you. All we're doing for 5 minutes is thanking each other. It's wonderful, though. I'm just interested, as much as I know about you, I don't really know a lot, and I want you to tell me about your background, where you went to school, and how you got to West Palm Beach on your journey.
Whoa, that's a lot. So I was born and half raised in Jamaica, the West Indies, not Jamaica, Queens. Uh, and then I migrated to New York City when I was about 14 years old, and went to finish high school there, and went to college, and started working in HIV prevention about 24 years ago. This June will make 24 years ago. Um, and along the way, you know, met the love of my life, and we got engaged and got married, and we relocated to Florida. Um, my mom was ill, and so we relocated here so I can be close to her, and just be close to my family as a whole. And you know, one of those things where you move from New York and you're like, I'm going back. Every year I was gonna go back to New York, and then it was like then winter would come, and I'm like, okay, maybe after the winter. And then the summer comes, and I was like, oh, I can just go to the beach, and so we never made it back. And then we took um, foster parenting classes and became foster parents
Yeah.
uh, right after we got married, actually. And we fostered our first son, and we were able to adopt him. And then couple, maybe 2 or 3 years in, we got a call again about a newborn baby that was like 8 days old. And you know, we fostered him too, and within a short couple of months, we had the opportunity to adopt both of them back to back. So we are the proud parents of Michael and Rylan, and they're just amazing.
Matthew. We must mention Matthew.
Yes, my husband Matthew.
Good.
Um, so we're super excited and super glad that we had this opportunity, and now they're 16 and 6. I can't believe it.
How did you find it when you moved here to South Florida, though, from New York in general, but you ended up rooting here? Why did you see that need for the HIV and the AIDS? Did you just feel there was a compassion here that you needed to be involved, that there was a need and you had to fill it? Because
I was already working in HIV prevention before I left New York, so it was
okay,
just a natural progression. Um, I started working with the health department. Little I came to visit my mom, and I
yes,
was sitting at home and at her house actually, and I was like, "Oh, the health department is hiring," and I submitted an application online, and they reached out and say, "Hey, we are doing interviews." Actually, I did it um, online in New York before I came, and they're like, "Oh, we're doing interviews," and so I was like, "All right, cool, I'll come in for an interview." And so I came down to see my mom, went to the interview, and everything went well. And I remember we were driving home back to New York, and I remember right around like Tennessee, um, I said, "Watch!" I said, "I bet you when as soon as we get into New York, they're gonna call me back and say, hey, when can you start?" And I think by the time we hit Maryland, uh, the phone rang,
you turned around.
and they were like, "Can you start on
Tomorrow.
Monday?" And I was like, "Next week Monday?" And they're
Yeah,
like, "Yeah." Like I said, I live in New York, right? And I literally I'm just now getting through like Maryland, about to go into Delaware or whatever. No, opposite direction, something like that.
so,
Uh, but
so
yeah, so
the health
they
department,
waited,
the health
waited,
The health
they waited.
department, though, is you've always been into health and wellness, though, basically in the community. That's always been a call in your life, correct? Though, health and wellness.
Yeah, for the most part, my mom was a nurse, and she that was if you know Caribbean families, nursing is a big thing for Caribbean
Mhm.
families. So it was a natural progression for her, and a lot of her friends were nurses, and so I've always sort of like been around a lot of that growing up. So it wasn't too far from what I knew, um,
Right.
but of course, learning about HIV was a whole different kind of like animal.
And tell me though, how was it with when you met Matthew? and you married. How did you find that as far as the process? Because there are a lot of couples that want to get married, haven't gotten married, the stigma attached, the whole 9 yards in 2024, and people are still making big deals over it. How did you find it when you were getting married to Matthew, whom you adore?
Um, it was fine. Like I think the biggest realization once you get married to someone is that like you now legally have kind of like power over them. Like if you start losing your capacity to function, I can put you in a home. That
Yeah, that's yeah. You're not. Yeah, you have certain rights
exactly.
that
It's like
are
don't get Baker
certain
acted.
benefits.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah, it's
So,
benefits. It
so
is.
it was
Yeah,
it was
it's all
really
good.
cool.
All good. And I've
It
met
was
Matthew, and he's just wonderful. Yeah, he's
oh
a
yeah.
doll. And then I want you to tell me though, because Campbell Health, as soon as I mention you in Palm Beach County, in Broward, or anywhere we are, right away they know. I mean, it's like you were born here. There's a star over your head, a halo wrapped around you, and you're walking almost on water, not quite, but you're there. And people love you. And I mean, I met you. I didn't have a clue what I was doing other than I wanted a show. You say, let's do it. And next thing I know, we're doing it. But the issue is that people know you. You have been out. You're very behind the scenes in many ways. You're very kind of laid
Um,
back in many ways, soft spoken. But the flip side is when you want to get something done, you do get it done. And
yeah,
when you
I
wanted Campbell Health, how did you start Campbell Health, though? That was interesting. Tell me about why Campbell when your last name is Jackson.
Campbell Health Solutions is actually named after my mom. And so my mom actually passed away in 2020 from lung cancer. And I was just, I was just kind of like, just, I'm not all over the place or whatever. We knew it was happening and we kind of like prepared for it. And so when I was thinking about a name for my organization, we played with a bunch of different names, and then I was like, I should just call it like Campbell Health Solutions, and it
It's
stuck.
funny.
And I was like, this is a great way of like honoring my mom and kind of like the way how putting a lot of her energy into the organization. So the way how she cared for people and cared for her community and her involvement. And if anyone knows my mom, they know that I am just a ball of bubble just like her. And my mom is the person who will get in the car with you and drive, 10 hours to for you to go to the store or something like that. She never let anything stop her. She always believed in possibilities. She believed in people, and she's always about how can we help to make people's lives better.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we started Campbell Health Solutions, we wanted to make sure that those elements continue to be part of what we do. So
Right.
here at Campbell Health Solutions, we do HIV testing. We also do some HIV care services and hepatitis care services and treatment, as well as STD screenings. And we also do a lot of like sexual health education and other things like that to basically help the community know their HIV status, know what's going on with their health. We have some wellness checks that we do as well because we want people to be able to have access. We don't
Right.
discriminate. We provide service to everyone who walks in the door as much as we can. We help people get connected with other social services that they may need, such as like food, transportation, insurance, things like that, to help them to be able to be to be their best self or to optimize their health. And it's just kind of like we find solutions. We're in this to find solutions and
Right.
to innovate the process, because so many times we get into go to A and then B and then C and then D when you can just cut all of that out and just get to E. So we're trying to innovate processes and innovate conversations and innovate services and programs, so this way the community can really reap the benefit of
Uh-huh.
what we're trying to do. Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. Your mother had the heart of a servant. You have the heart of a servant. When you have that heart, it doesn't matter what the opportunity will be. If it's involving people in the
Right.
community and helping get resources to people who need, that's the heart of a servant. And that's what we all should be doing. Basically, we're not really called here, I don't believe, I don't believe that Susan Lee Mintz was called here for Susan Lee Mintz. Susan Lee Mintz was called for others. And
Yeah.
in the process, I get the benefits because I believe that the Lord has blessed me, but He enables me to be able to help others. So I look at it that you have the heart, if you have the heart of a servant, you can't do anything really wrong because it's pure.
Yeah. And actually, today that we're recording, March 13th is her birthday. And so it's also the day that we started the organization. And
Oh,
so Campbell Health Solution is now officially 3 years old today. And it's also my mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. Love you always and forever. And we just want to continue to put positive energy out, do as much as we can to help people. And our my mom's philosophy is always don't ask anyone to do something that you're unwilling to do yourself. And
that's right.
so this is why a lot of times you will see me out and about doing things, because I firmly believe whether you are the top executive within an organizational structure, or the janitor, or the groundskeeper, or you're the CEO or the board member or whoever, that you should definitely be more involved in your community.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it takes nothing to give, right? It takes nothing to give. And so, yes, do you have to give up some time? Do you have to give some energy? Absolutely. But look at the impact that you can have for people. And if you help people to have a better experience, then I think your job is done.
I think it's called life. Are you helping that person's life along the journey? Are you, if you can't bring something to my plate that's beneficial to me, and whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, or emotional, then I really have to push you aside because I want to be in one place and be in unity with myself. And I think that's why I was drawn to you also for this show, because I do believe that we're very much in sync as to what we want to do to help others. And for a self-made person, you're in a big area, Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade, Broward. You've taken on a lion, sweetheart, and
Yeah, so not
you're
not
roaring,
not just
you're
by accident.
roaring.
So
What?
when I first moved here, I started working in Palm Beach County. I mean, in Broward County, and then I moved up to Palm Beach County, and then I've actually worked statewide, where I had a role where I was able to travel around the state and work with local health departments and local organizations to build, you know, cultural competency around LGBTQ population and cultural sensitivity and humility, and just kind of like understanding how some of those things impact people's health and impact the service delivery model. And so that's kind of like where part of my um, expertise lie, is in developing, implementing, and evaluating programs, and just just taking like 2 or 3 sentences and building an entire uh, operations from it. Like, so my friends know me and they call me sometimes and they're like, so I have this idea. I want to do this and that and that. What do you think? And I was like, let me just think about it. And then like the next day they have like a full outline of
Oh,
whatever.
I want to tell that. I want to talk about that because when I was on your show twice or so, and then right off the bat, I'm up in West Palm Beach in the studio, and it's just brick and mortar. It's a studio. But anyway, so I'm on the podcast and we're talking. And next thing I just really did, I just said, oh, for 20 years, I have wanted to have a show specifically for HIV. And we could get sponsors from the drug companies and we could take this thing national. And there's nothing. Right off the bat, he pulled out a big piece of paper and taped it onto the window. And already he's writing grant for this one, write down this one. He's got a whole checklist of stuff. And in the process, I'm seeing words. I said, you're very smart, aren't you? And I didn't realize, I don't remember red, but I said, I'm street smart. My vocabulary is still very limited. And I said, he's using words that organizations use, that people who have a lot of degrees use. He's very smart. And here I am, just a little lady who just wham, just gets it out. But that's how it happened, is he just took out that paper. And next thing you know, he started what we can do, where we can go, how we can handle it. He's very structural.
I mean, it's well, thank you. Thank you. I think I've just been, I'm just been really grateful and excited that I've had the opportunity for people to pour into me. And so I learn from their experience and their expertise. And so I'm at a place where I'm able to pour into others and to help them build and grow. And so I make no qualms about that. And it's not selfish and it's not me. I'm not hoarding, whatever's in my brain. If I die with it, it stays with me. So I guess the best thing I can do is to basically empty my brain before, God calls me home. And then this way, everything that I've accumulated in all of my earlier years, I'm spending my latter years giving it or putting it out. So this way folks can also learn from those expertise as well.
Now this show has been great until you start talking about age and stuff. Don't give me the latter years, because you're looking at someone who definitely is not coming up the mountain. We're going down that mountain at a very rough speed. I don't even remember the 40s, 50s, and 60s at this point. And don't even dare talk about age, and I'll be real nice about that.
You're going down the mountain at a very rough speed.
Yeah, it's a bumpy road down that mountain. Going up was a little bit challenging. Coming down is a really rocky, bumpy road. So let's not talk about age, my darling. All right. But he was wonderful, and he just cares, and people say that about him. He just care, and you can't make somebody care if they don't have that heart. There's so much selfishness out there today, and greed and hoarding. You use that word, and I don't understand it. If everybody gave a little, nobody would have to give a lot. And time is the most precious. Time is more valuable than money because it's what you do with it. You've given time you've poured time into your life. You poured time into Matthew, to your 2 children, and you pour into these communities, and they're benefiting from all of your expertise, your information. You've been a blessing to so many. And your journey is just beginning. And I really say that we're going to take, and not just with the show, this show's going to go big at some point because there is a need, and you saw the need. And I know that somebody's going to knock on that door and say, you want to go on a big streaming service or go national on a talk show? I'll give you the platform. And I guess I got to talk to my producer. I got to talk to my director. Tell me about, you want to talk about the Care Council too?
Yes. So
how you got involved with Care Council, HIV Care Council?
Yes. So I've been working alongside the Palm Beach County HIV Care Council for quite a while, practically since I moved here back in like 2013. And just kind of like as a member, as a community voice, and just basically holding them to the task of remembering the community, and remember that the Care Council is for the community. So and I'll say this to you who are watching: if you live in Palm Beach County, if you are a resident of Palm Beach County, and whether you're living with HIV or if you're not living with HIV, maybe you're a caretaker, maybe you know someone, maybe you don't even know anyone, but you are a resident of Palm Beach County, please reach out to us So this way we can give you or provide you with more information about how to, when and where the meetings are happening, how to become a member, because your voice matters. Your voice truly, truly matters. And I don't know if I should say I was fortunate, but I last month I was nominated and voted in as the new chair of the Palm Beach County Care Council for the next year. So I look forward to serving the Palm Beach County community. I look forward to serving with my fellow members to ensure that the funding goes to the places where it needs to go to
Right.
ensure that the community have access to it for the services and to be able to fill those gaps and those needs.
And you will be a wonderful president, chair.
I
Hey,
hope so. I hope so. I hope so.
just get me on there as a member soon, honey. That's all. I've been going to every meeting, just about every meeting for the past months, and I keep waiting. There is an opening. When there's an opening, I know I want to just, it's the greatest place. There's all these organizations and places and people. It's got such a great resource for our area.
Yeah, and I know we have certain areas where there's a waiting list right now to be a voting member, but you can still come to the Care Council. You can still participate. That is actually one of the requirements for being a member, is attending at least 2 meetings, actively participating in meetings, and you can for when I first started, I participated in the Care Council meetings for about a year before I was able to become a member.
Yeah.
Maybe closer to like 2 years before I was able to become a member. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
was in a meeting and I was raising hell to like, I have questions, I need answers,
Yeah.
and so I know they at some point they might have gotten tired of me, but the point of me being there was to ensure that people who look like me, people who are experiencing HIV, people who are taking care of other people with HIV, um, neighbors, friends, family members, community members, whatever, are able to say, this is where the resources are, and this is where I go to get those resources. And
Thank,
know that there are people who are fighting to make sure that they have those resources.
thank you for saying that you went to meetings for a long time, because I've been doing it for a few months, and I'm going up there to West Palm from Boca, the princess here who doesn't go 5 minutes from her house. And I'm driving up to West Palm Beach and getting there at 1 o'clock to have lunch, or then at 4:30 in the traffic. And I keep saying to myself, I'm going to be a member soon. I'm going to be a member soon. And I'm thinking, thank you for saying it took you a while,
Yeah,
because I keep
took
going
me
to
a while.
all these meetings is whenever I can make them. I know I've met a lot of them, and I do the same thing. I voice an opinion. I raise my hand if I want to say something and introduce myself. And it's a wonderful place, though, to network. But Palm Beach County is really a great place if you have you need resources for HIV or any STD. It's wonderful, and even if you don't, it can channel you to the other service providers.
Yes, for sure. If you are newly diagnosed with HIV, if you have been living with HIV, if you know somebody or you're taking care of somebody with HIV and you need additional services, you need support, reach out to the Care Council, reach out to the Palm Beach County Community Services Department,
Right.
and they will help you to get connected or refer you to where you need to go. And it could be anything: housing, transportation, um, coming to the meetings, food, whatever it is. They have resources to help you stay connected and get what you need. And that's what we're here for, to serve you, our residents, and our community members.
Now, the thing though that's interesting about you though is you've started a company from scratch. You got involved with the Care Council. I mean, do you think you need to have a few more? You got a husband, you got 2 kids, a real life. Do you think you need a few more responsibilities? Now you're taking me on. That's a sideshow all in itself. But do you think though that where would you say in Palm Beach County is the greatest need with HIV or AIDS or anything? What would you say the greatest need that you see coming into the county and that's here?
So you mentioned a couple of things. So I want to give a shout out to the Boston Congress of Public Health. I I I um I sit on their board of directors. They're a national organization who are working with young youth and young adults who are interested in getting into the medical professions.
That's wonderful.
And they focus on healthcare justice, social justice, and medicine. Um, so I'm pretty excited about that. And there are a couple of other things too that I'm involved in on sort of like a national level. And then we do stuff here locally as well. Um, so the HIV is right now impacting, I mean, HIV impacting any community is a problem. And so this is why I want people to basically prioritize their health, get tested, and know your HIV status. Obviously, we aren't the only ones providing HIV testing, but you can start with us if you don't know where to go. If you have a local place that you've been going to, go to them. It doesn't make any sense for you to come from, Boca to get tested with us when you've always been going to Genesis or something like that. So it's about I think organizations owe it to their clients to be responsible, to say, hey, listen, you are traveling, you know, over 2 miles to get here, maybe ten miles or more on the bus, or you have to take a bus for 2 hours when there's something closer to you that
Right.
provides the same service that we provide. That will take the burden off the client and help them to keep some of their limited resources. And then if they still choose to go further, then that's on them. And so we have to be mindful of that. So this way we're helping people to access the resources that are within their communities. Um, and you can support that, and it's beyond profit, right? So that's beyond profit. And then also we have where particularly here in Palm Beach County, African American women, and nationally too, it's been a conversation, and it will continue to be a conversation. Black women are at the forefront of this HIV crisis, and um, we need to
Well,
make sure that they have the resources. We need to make sure that they get tested. In fact, Black women, if you live in Palm Beach County and you're having a hard time getting an HIV test, being able to get tested for HIV during the day because you're working, because you have to take care of Ray Ray and them, uh, call us. We have a flexible schedule, and we're highly dedicated. We're specifically dedicated to Black women, so we make exemptions. We will test you at 8 o'clock at night if you need to be tested. Then we will test you early in the morning. We will test you on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, if you are serious about getting tested. So we know you have to work. We know you have to take care of the kids. We know there's a lot going on. And so we make that commitment to you, because we know when a person who is already low to middle income and they have to take off work where they're paid by the hour, it has a trickle down effect. And
right.
so when they lose a half day or a day of pay,
It's a lot.
then that could mean not having gas to go to work for one day, or mean missing a meal for your family one of those days. So we are committed to you not having to experience that.
As an educator, why would you say 40 years later after HIV started, why would you say, though, that the African American woman, not just here, but nationally, is a higher risk in contracting HIV more than other groups? Why?
So I think that, well, I wouldn't say that. So there are multiple different things that are happening, and I think it's kind of like there are multiple priorities, and so it's like it's not only just the black woman, the black man, it's also black gay men, Hispanic woman, Hispanic gay men, gay men as a whole. So like there are all these other like subgroups or different groups that have that need priority and also are at high risk for acquiring HIV. And I think it's a matter of saying, how can we still prioritize them, but also make sure that everyone is getting what they need instead of just saying, we only have funding for this or we only have funding for that. And so I think that sometimes agencies just have to be a little bit more creative. We
Yes.
have to be more intentional when we market our services and when we promote services. And also, I think what has caused a lot of the issues for when you look at any data in any state, basically, black and brown people are at highest risk or greatest risk for acquiring HIV. And so what we have to look at is saying, it started in the 80s, right? Because when HIV first came on the scene, nobody knew what it was. People were dying. And then people say, oh, I don't want to die like that. And then all of a sudden it became the gay disease. Then it was given a couple of other names, and some groups were stigmatized for that. And then I think when it had this whole stigmatization around that it was the gay disease, there was a lot of teachings or movements that say, oh well, if you're not gay, you don't have anything to worry about. And so what ended up happening is that straight people were like, all right, we're good, we're not gay, and not understanding how HIV is transmitted, not understanding how to protect themselves from HIV and how to clean needles and not to share their works. And I think a lot of those things kind of like uh, pushed us down this road. And then, you know, we know that, people, we say, yes, we have all these agencies doing HIV testing, but then we look at some of the socioeconomic barriers that are preventing people from getting tested, right? If I go get tested, I have to leave my job
Yeah.
early so I can get to the clinic because it closes at 5. Well, if we run our clinics from 9 to 5 and people have to be to work from 9 to 5, when do they get when do they get to go to the clinic? So I think that we have to be able to have some flexibility, also transportation. So
Mm,
somebody may be able to come to the clinic because they get off work at 3, but it's going to take them about an hour and a half to get to the doctor's office. And
right.
by the time they get there, people are getting ready to go home, or there may not be enough time to do all the procedures because people are rushing to get out the door. And so if people are in our office and they walk in before 6 p.m., and we spend the time that we need to spend seeing them, and I know that's not the model in a lot of different places, but it's a community model. And I think when
Yes.
you have it's not a medical model per se, it's a community driven model. And I think people just need to understand that and realize that we care about community. And there are plenty of times when I've worked in other places where I want to do something or go get a service, and I have to take off from work. And I can do that because I have a salaried position, I have flex time, or whatever the case is. But that's not the scenario for everyone. And I
No.
think even within that, I was privileged enough to have a salaried position. I was privileged enough to have flex time. And sometimes we don't look at our own privileges when we talk about why people aren't accessing services, and see that we have those privileges, excuse me, privileges that we can use whenever we want, but other people don't. And if they do take the opportunity, that they're either missing out on a full paycheck, or they're missing out on a meal, or missing out on gas for their vehicles to get back and forth to work. So there are a lot of data that shows that there's a trickle down effect that happened um,
Right.
in that week or within that 2 week period. So you know, it's unfortunate, but it does happen. And of course, socioeconomic status is
Right.
coupled. healthcare issues, diabetes, all of those other things. So heart disease and all of that. So we have to do better as a
Yeah, you never
as a
stop. There's always more work to do, more people to help, more things to. I think you have to reinvent yourself all the time too. You can't stay in one mode for too
right.
long without getting stale, complacent, bored. And I'm grateful that the Lord gave me a brain that never. I always want more. To me, this is a step to the next step, to the next step. And I think organizations have to be more flexible, look for better, more ideas, be more creative. They have to be more like a boardroom where you brainstorm. I think a
Right.
lot of organizations, they don't brainstorm enough to come up with new ideas because they're so structured to do what they got to do when they got to do it. So if somebody comes along with a new idea, they shut it down because it doesn't fit into their model.
And I think also too, what's important is having people who look like the community
Yes.
be at the table to make those decisions, right? And to be able to speak to those experiences, right?
Right.
Because even though I am a Black person, I don't know what it is to grow up in the projects. I've seen it on TV. I have friends who've lived in the projects, so I hear from their experiences. So I can sort of advocate for that. But when it comes down to planning a program that would really work for people who live in the projects, that would be effective, I need to get those people to the table, even though
Right.
they look like me. So I can't just go out there and because I'm Black, I'm like, oh, I blanket everything. No, I can. My job at that point is to advocate that the people who live in the projects be at the table to speak to what's going to work for them. And I think too many times people who are in lower positions within organization, they have really great ideas, but their ideas don't get to push to the top
No.
because the people who have to give the final say, either it is not doesn't look like us, is not from that community, doesn't have those lived experiences. They have their privileges and they have their preferences, and they want it to look a certain kind of way, or or be a certain kind of way. And I can a couple years ago, I did a campaign at the health department called "Get Your Swag Tested," swag with three. And I remember when I was doing that campaign, um, the I got a call from Tallahassee, and the lady on the other line, she was such a sweet lady. She said, um, "Why does it have to be swag with three G's?" And I said, "Because when you see people tag their art, street art, you can always tell when a person of color tag their street art. There's an exaggerations of the G's and the Z's and the S's and the this and
Right.
the that. And so you know that it's someone, a person of color, right? And so that's kind of like what I want to use to connect with my community, is for them to understand that someone within the health department who looks like them created this project or created this program to get their attention, for them to get tested. And that same year, I think Beyonce had a song, where she said, I got swag, I got swag, something swag. I can't remember the thing right now. They're gonna kill me. Please don't kill me, y'all. Be the Beehive. But she said, I got swag, a hot sauce in my bag, swag. And it just, that was a hit that year. And we had lots of people actively just drawn to it. And people are like, and we thought it was going to primarily be like the youth and young adults. And it turned out that even the seniors, a lot of seniors were like, oh, where's my t-shirt? And they wear their swag, the Get Your Swag Tested shirt all over the place. And the campaign, I think, went on. I think it's still around. There's still some swag stuff that you can see. I think there's still some bags and some stuff floating around still, that from the health department, that has Get Your Swag Tested on it. And it was a very successful campaign. I think it lasted for about maybe like 3 years, maybe more. And I remember being at the gas station, and one guy came up to me and was like, I remember you from the event. You got any more of them t-shirts in your car? And I was like, what? I was
Yeah.
like, just walking up to me randomly asking me for a get your flag tested. Because it was for once it was like putting HIV in the fine print where we're saying get your swag tested, whatever it is, go get
Right.
HIV tested, but also get tested for other stuff. Go get health screens. Go get tested for STDs. Know your status was kind of like the main thing, and I think that created a little bit of a shift. But again, if we need to make sure sometimes ideas like those don't go anywhere if the people making the decisions at the top
Right.
look like
Yeah.
the community and understand the community,
Yeah.
because it could have been, the person who approved it was an African American gentleman, uh, passed away a couple of years ago. He was the director over the program at the time, um, assistant director at the health department. And so I thought plenty, for a long time and say, maybe, what if that person was not a person of color, and see how this would connect with our community? Would we have that project? Because there were other things that people wanted to go with. So they could have gone with something else, and then we would have never known if this would work.
Right.
And there was one experience that came from that. We had a woman who was at the bus stop, and she thought it was the funniest thing ever, to see this bus covered with "Get Your Swag Tested" driving along. And she did want to get tested. Yeah, it prompted her to go get tested because her husband had passed away a couple of years before, and she got tested and found out that she actually was HIV positive, or is HIV positive.
So that drove her in.
So,
Did you?
so again, and she said she never thought about it until she saw that bus ad, and she was like,
Mhm.
let me just do it, and found out that she was actually living with HIV and not even know that she
Yeah.
was living with it. And that's
Yeah.
the thing too. What people don't understand is that you can live with HIV for up to 10 years without knowing that you have HIV, or sometimes even longer,
Yeah.
without knowing that you have it if you've never been tested. So it's
Yeah.
important for you to get an HIV test, and you can go in someplace and get a test. If you go to your doctor, ask your doctor to do an HIV test. If you can't find anywhere to get an HIV test, give us a call. We'll help you to find someplace where you can. And I know people sometimes in other shows that we've had, people will reach out to us from other states because they don't know where in their state that they can go and get a test. And
Right.
so if you're one of those people watching this show, give us a call and we'll help you to find something close to you in your state.
Yeah. The thing I remember though is, we live in a very metropolitan South Florida. It's very diverse, the demographics. I mean, getting back to, when you were saying about the socioeconomic and the thing that's so interesting is, I think that, like with Forrest Gump, he said life is like the box of chocolates.
Yes.
And for me, I'm saying I don't have many friends that look like me. I don't have friends that my church is predominantly African American, Hispanic. Jeffrey and I always had friends that were big, small, gay, white, black, Hispanic. I just never thought that I'm not comfortable, even when I've gone to events or been where people who are all like me and dressed like me and talk. I'm uncomfortable. I'm better on the streets with everyday people. I mean, I'm better on the streets than I am at a black tie event where everybody is hooting and hollering and drinking. I said, I can't. I would rather talk to somebody under a bridge. I mean, I'm just a street person, and this is why it works for me. If I waited to be around everybody that looked like me, I'd make myself crazy. I just shot myself after Jeffrey died. I couldn't do me. I can't even sit around a pool when there's people that talk like me. I can't handle it. So I need a lot of diversification in my life to keep me sane. And I think that's where so many companies have gotten crazy and bogged down. They're listening to their board members, they're public, and they're looking to their shareholders and their stockholders. And you can't listen to them, and you're allowing this creativity from underneath to be void. And you wonder sometimes why you're losing good people. is because
Yeah.
there's nowhere for them to go but in a 9 to 5 job. And here they have this. I think COVID helped a lot. It allowed a lot of people to work from home. A lot of people started their own businesses. There's a
Mhm.
reason why things happen. When COVID happened, they had the greatest blowout of people that are starting their own businesses from home. It
Yeah.
was a blessing in many ways, an opportunity for some to say, I can't go into the office, but I have this great thing I wanted to do. Why don't I try it now? It works. I do find that the diversification, and the other thing I was trying to get to, suppose you're in a small town in Kansas or Oklahoma or Idaho. You don't have a big health department like we have here. We have huge health departments in South Florida, Florida itself. But if you live in a little area where you might have to drive 2 hours to get to a health department, or it can be really hard.
Yeah, it can be. And they do have over-the-counter HIV tests. I believe in most states you can actually call either a program or whatever, and they'll mail you an HIV test. So this way you can have it, or there might be areas where you can actually pick one up and do it in the privacy of your home. And if you're able to secure one of those, definitely reach out to us, or reach out to your local organization that you got it from. So this way you can say, if you need additional resources, they can help you to connect with care, with treatment, or get you connected to other resources.
I think, though, one of the things when the over the counter kits came available, I
Hmm.
think that can be very dangerous yet because you find out you're positive and you're on your own. I think that can be very scary.
Yeah, and it can be. And so, that's why we offer help and say, okay, fine. If you need to talk to someone, absolutely give us a call. And, just know that, HIV is not the end. HIV is still here. Get tested, know your HIV status, but it's not the end of the world if you get tested and find out that you are indeed living with HIV. There are plenty of people who are winning. There are plenty of people who are living their best life. So just find people that you trust, that you can talk to, that you can build support, build community, and it gets better.
Mm.
It gets better.
Well, are we going to have music tonight that says we should wind up the program? On our other previous shows, moi has been listening carefully for the little music that says, all right, I want to thank my guest. And I want to thank my guest. And tonight, I want to thank my guest before that music. I don't know if they're going to play it tonight because he's the studio, basically. He's in his studio, and I'm one remote. But anyway, I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Not
Thank
a
you.
problem.
Thank you for sure. And I
For
want to just
sure. And
sure.
that actually, I'll tell you. Well, I'll put this up. If you're interested in making a donation or giving to local organization, please consider Campbell Health Solutions as one of
Definitely.
those organization. You can text CHS to 53555, or you can go to our website at www.campbellhealth.org and click the link to donate. And all your donations will go towards our programs and services. We have folks sometimes come in and they don't have insurance coverage or they need health STD screenings. So that will help us to cover laboratory fees and other programming for folks.
If
Um,
you have to invest in a company or in something, invest in Campbell Health, and you won't go wrong. Campbell Health Campbell Health is exactly what it says, named after his deceased mama, who he loved, his mother, who was a nurse. Campbell Health Solutions. Don't bring him a problem. His solutions, or what should I say? Bring him a problem. He's got solutions, and that's
right.
it. Campbell
Come with a
Campbell Health.
problem, you leave with a solution, but you have to be committed to be part of that solution. And
Absolutely
so
committed.
so yeah, and we're on social media platforms. So please prioritize your health, get tested, know your HIV status. get screened for STIs and STDs. If you live in the county, Palm Beach County, we have condoms. You can come by and pick up condoms for free. So absolutely do that. We really appreciate you doing the show. Oh, the beach for sure. So I've taken for sure, right? And I actually made a campaign out of it where we're going to be releasing that between, I think, in May or June. We're going to be releasing a whole Be for Sure line. Um, and it's going to be pretty exciting. I think you're going to love. I think you're going to love some of the designs and some of the stuff that we came up with. It's
For
really,
sure.
yeah, it's like Be for Sure.
Yeah, and that's from the beginning. It's always the same, for sure. And I just hear sometimes very little words, but for sure, that was become a big one. And it's just an amazing time, I think, to be creative, to have a passion. I think it's a great time to have passion for something and for life, and to
Yes.
give it everything you do have, because it is so precious. And you may think that somebody doesn't need that help, but most people at some point in their life do need that helping hands, those two extra hands that help. And also, if you want to donate to Campbell Health, I'm looking at some big corporation, drug company, insurance company, doctor, lawyer, anybody who wants to sponsor Positively Positive, because I do know what I'm doing. And I think this show is over the top incredible. And I thank this man right over there to my left or right for seeing for seeing how we needed to be doing this. So we know that there's a couple of billionaire sponsors out there who would love to get involved with Campbell Health Solutions and Susan Mintz, moi. And it's just a marvelous time for people to be out there saying, this is my time to do something really great with my life. And you want to help people. People need help
Yeah.
today.
Last year we set out to do 50, we set out to do 50, at least 50 hours of sexual health education with individuals and families. And that's really doing sort of like a virtual platform like this or in person, where we teach parents facts about HIV and STDs and PrEP and PEP. So this way they have the information, and then they're able to then talk to their teens about, HIV and STDs and stuff like that. And also parents could sign up their teenagers. So we have a couple of parents who are just like, no, 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 I'm just going to sign them up and send them to you. And so we had teenagers who were actively participating in those programs, and we have families together who participated, and we had seniors and the likes. So altogether, I think we did 110 hours of one-on-one or group or family educational sessions last year. And we're looking to kind of like replicate that again this year, probably doing 150,
Oh,
maybe
you
200.
will. You will.
So, we're doing little things like that. We also have some other educational programs that we do online on dating sites and things like that, where we educate people about HIV and PrEP and STD and screening and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and we've been really good at doing that. So far, I think we've engaged about 3,000, about 3,500 men who have sex with men, or gay and bisexual men, around HIV, STDs, condom use, and PrEP and PEP. So we have lots of stuff going on that we're not able to talk about because the show would just go on and on forever. But
Never.
we're doing amazing work, and we're kind of like we're digging in to the community, and
Yes.
we're building from the ground up.
I have to tell people this, that it was so funny. The first time I went up to the studio, in West Palm. I don't know from this area. And I see the band building on a Saturday or thing. And so next thing we know, there's all these I didn't know they were condom, but there's all these pretty colored wrappered things, and they're all over the place in the entrance room. And I thought, oh, they look like candy. I thought they were the Ghirardelli chocolate candies that come in a different color. And I said, oh, can I have one? Or and they had, I mean, there were hundreds of them all over and different. They were red and yellow and I thought, Ghirardelli chocolates, how nice. He has these from the office. What do I know? They were condoms. I didn't know they were just in pretty foil. So I thought they were the Ghirardelli chocolates he's giving out to people when they come in. Duh.
Yeah, that was part of our. We were packaging them for. It was the holidays, so we were doing like Christmas giveaways to people in our office buildings and out in the community. Just a little thing to make it a little festive. I think, like I said, we're about innovating the services. We don't want people to shy. We're not shying away from HIV. We're very loud and open and vocal about HIV. We just want to make sure that people understand that the resources are available to them and that they can access those resources. Condoms, if you need free condoms, you can come and get free condoms from us. We have the at-home HIV test kits. You can get those from us as well. You can get tested here. You can get tested for STDs. You can see a provider if you just do a wellness check. A whole bunch of stuff. Oh, and we also have the Lipo B shots. So if you're wanting to get fit and lose some weight and stuff like that, we're doing Lipo B shots. So we have that available as well. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a few things that are going on.
Are those shots like tequila shots?
That would be so easy right now.
Yeah, right now, boy, I would love to just do a couple of tequila shots instead of that, whatever you said. But you're just doing so many great works, and you take on a lot.
We work with the community and we collaborate. Our main collaborators right now that we've worked with last year into this year, including with the Black Health Summit that we just hosted
for the first time in
Palm Beach County. And I think we wanted to create a space where we really kind of like focus on Black folks, just kind of like let workshops be led by people who reflect the community, right, and say we're giving you space to be. And so it was really, really amazing. It was really, really amazing.
It was great.
And I know you were there, and the conversations and the layout and the food was amazing.
The cookies were so good. I was so full of sugar. I was. Matthew said to call him when I got home. I don't remember going home. I was so high. I just remember I didn't care about the food. I just saw boxes of cookies and I said, "Oh, my sugar addiction is off tonight." And I was eating them so fast. I actually had my jaws were full of those.
I know, and it was an evening event, so we made sure we had kind of like a light dinner. We had rice and beans and stewed chicken and some steamed veg. So it was really cool. I think it was really great. Only thing that was missing was the ice cream, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it was just a wonderful event. But you take the initiative. You're not afraid to take a chance on new things.
No, I think too many times people are just like they don't want to try something because they're worried about it failing. And you won't know if it's going to fail unless you try, right? And if it fails, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You just learn how not to do something.
There you go. I say there's no mistakes in life. There's just better choices.
Right.
Nothing in life's a mistake. You learn from it, but you might have made a better choice.
And then also, yeah, for sure. And then we also have some underdogs out there. And this is my shout out to my underdogs. We have some other organizations that are really doing some really smart and innovative things that people don't really know about. And a lot of larger organizations aren't really tapping in or partnering or collaborating with. And so we have like Triple H Ministries with Caroline Granison. We have Father Outreach. It's out in Boynton with Gloria Gooseby. We have Gift Me Health International, with Dr. Kinlaw Williams. We have WEN of PVC, Women's Health Education Network of Palm Beach County, with Wanda Duray.
Right.
And also we have he does a lot of stuff around the state of Florida, primarily in Broward. We also have Ujima Men's Collective, which is a same gender loving organization. And our organization is kind of like the only Black same gender loving organization in Palm Beach County. So we're here about creating safe spaces, not only just for Black and Brown communities. We create safe spaces for everyone. Everyone who walks in the door will receive the same level of service. We don't discriminate. We don't do anything like that, and we're just more purposeful about vulnerable populations. So we understand that in Palm Beach County, there's a lot of, Black and Brown LGBTQ people who don't have safe spaces that they can go to and be themselves and be in their cultural experiences. And so we create spaces like those for folks. And we have spaces here in our office, in our studio, where folks can come in, and we'll host different events and activities throughout the year where folks can actively participate, game nights, things like that, to just create safe spaces for Black queer folks. And we've hosted woman-specific events where we've had Black women come in and we talk about how do they prioritize their health, and what does HIV prevention look like to them. And so we've done those programmings and we'll continue to do them. And it's just an amazing experience overall. And there's more to come. There is so much more.
This is just part one of what we're going to be. This is just a little over an hour of part one of this amazing interview, where he's going to be able to just tell the world what he's going to get dropped. We've been doing so good. We've had amazing guests, and we have more that are coming on. We have people from all over. But I want to say thank you so much. I think if I had to put one word, one adjective to this man, it would be kindness. And that is something that is missing in this country. And I don't know about the world. I live in the world, but I live here. Kindness used to be something I grew up with. And I do believe it's been taken out of our vocabulary, and it's out of the way we function and the way we work. And I would say that Campbell Health Solutions is kindness. This man is kindness. Is that good?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I like that. Now I want to get a t-shirt that says kindness.
With an S at the end. Kindness.
Kindness.
But look, kindness. You got to spread the S's out.
Kindness.
Kindness.
And then like put SLM next to it.
I just want a t-shirt that says "For sure, positively positive." The purple and gold that says "Positively positive."
You know
for
what?
Sure.
We're gonna put that in our merchandise store. How about that?
That's it. Positively positive. For sure.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I want to say thank you. This will be part one. You don't know when we're going to pop up again because we have other guests that have to be on, but you don't know when he's going to squeeze himself into the show and be another amazing hour, because there's so much to talk about, organizations to talk about, facilities, resources all over. He's just a encyclopedia of, I'm so good at this. I want a national show. I am really a great interviewer, and I love dressing up. So would somebody give me a shot with this show to go national? Come on. Give the old lady, like the knock, 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 and the little widow lady in the Bible. Knock, 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 and the judge finally said, Jesus, just do it already. Give it to her, or she won't stop.
Exactly.
Knock, knock, knock. You're wonderful. I hear the music, and we're very care here. I mean, we just flow with the whole show. We've come so far from the beginning when we were getting dropped. I didn't know how to get on. I didn't know anything about doing any of this. And we've come so far, you and I, even on our shows, with having good connections. And I was forced to get a laptop. It was really exciting.
No, it's fine. You know, we're in this together. And like the screen said, together in the fight to end HIV and AIDS. And so
Right.
it's going to take all of us, whether you're black, brown, yellow, purple, orange, pink, blue,
Jewish,
indigo, whether you're from the
Jew,
Caribbean,
Jew,
Africa, Europe, whatever,
Jewish,
Jewish, whatever you are, it's going to
Muslim,
take
Christian, Jew,
all
it
of
doesn't matter.
it's going to take all of us to end
Yep,
HIV. It's not going to end on its own until all of us get to a place where we can end it together.
that's it. We're going to end this show now together. I want to thank my guest, my producer, director, CEO, and president of Campbell Health Solutions, and the sponsor of Positively Positive. I'm Susan Lee Mintz, and you have been entertained and informed for the past hour plus. Entertained and informed.
Well, thank you for having me again.
That's so cool. We're such a good team. I love you, dear.